Do you just want to be heard? Whether you're over here, or even way out here. Can you hear me now? Even over here? Well, today we've got our hands on a budget-friendly wireless microphone system, and we're going to put it to the test to see if it's any good. Let's make it simple.
Say feel that bass.
Greetings and salutations, my friends. My name is Travis, aka Dad, and welcome to Dad Does Tech. I'm just an ordinary dad who loves tech and camera stuff, and my goal is to help you find the right gear and get the most out of it. And today we are looking at this little guy, the Comica Boom XD wireless lav system, and we're going to see if this little lav system is any good and if it's worth your hard-earned cash. Whether you're an avid presenter, somebody who does podcasts, makes YouTube videos on the go, works in a church, or even does weddings or interviews, there's a lot of different situations where you could find a wireless lav system very, very useful. But why doesn't everyone have one then? Well, the answer to that is they're really expensive. It's this hefty price tag that often makes people a little reluctant to dip their toes into the wireless lav swimming pool, if you will. But the Comica Boom XD that I've got here, it comes with 2 transmitters and a receiver at only a price of around $250, give or take when you're watching this video. Prices obviously may vary. So let's take a quick look into what you would get if you were to buy the Comica Boom XD wireless lav system today. I gotta say, one of the best parts about the package had to be the packaging itself, because when I received it, I swear it felt like I was in some mafia movie and it just looked like something that had been smuggled across the border. Once you get into the main box, the transmitters and the receiver are right up front, and I was really surprised when I saw them. The pictures online truly don't do these things justice, because when I think of wireless packs, I'm used to thinking of things that are half to 3/4 of the size of my smartphone, and the reality is these things are super small, and these things will easily fit into any jacket or pants pocket. And just in case that's not an option, you also have this nifty little belt clip. As far as buttons go, there's only 2 of them on the transmitter. One of them is the power button that also doubles as a mute button when the device is turned on. And below that is the pairing button, which will allow you to pair this transmitter with your receiver, assuming that both the transmitter and receiver are turned on. On the left-hand side, you have the charging port, which is USB Type-C, which I thought was nice, so it supports quick charging. On the top of the transmitter, you'll notice that there are 2 small holes, one for your lav mic's 3.5mm jack, and the other one for a small plastic pin attached to the lav mic that'll help secure the lav mic to the transmitter so it doesn't get pulled out when someone's wearing it. Directly next to that mic input, you'll also notice a silver grill that actually houses an internal microphone on this transmitter. So just in case you forgot your lav mic, you could pin this to somebody's shirt, or you could use it more discreetly, which is probably a better use for it. And if you wanted to record some more ambient sounds, you could put a transmitter on a table or tuck it somewhere where it can pick up the sounds in the room. The receiver has literally an identical footprint to the transmitter, at least as far as its size. On the front, you'll notice that the LCD screen is no longer on the bottom, but now on the top. The power charging cable goes in on the left, just like on the transmitter. And on the right, you have 3 buttons. The first button is a power button. When held, it will turn on the device or turn it off. When you tap it when it is on, it will switch between mono and stereo recording modes. And then the bottom 2 buttons actually change the decibel level of which your transmitters are recording. If you want to adjust how sensitive your microphone is, you simply tap these buttons to get the right levels. On top of the receiver, there are 2 small holes, one for your output so you can run your cable directly to your camera, and then the other hole is for your headphones, just so you can check and monitor your audio levels to make sure you're not peaking. While I was fiddling around with the receivers and the transmitters, one of the things I did notice that I found really interesting and I think worth mentioning is there's no menu button, nor is there any menus. So if you're somebody who likes to change the frequency or channel in which you're recording on, or if you want to dial in specific settings in a certain way, that isn't something you can really do on here. The only settings that you have available to you come on these 3 buttons. You have mono and stereo recording, and literally the ability to adjust the gain on both of your lav mics. And that's about it. And for some of you, that could be a deal breaker. But for me and in my uses, the lack of features and settings really wasn't an issue for me. Moving on, this box also includes a few more different goodies, including 2 lav mics, one in for each of your transmitters. It also has a number of different cables just in case you want to connect to different cameras from different manufacturers, and they're nicely labeled so you can figure out which one goes to which. And it also has a power cable, and finally 2 little windscreens or dead cats that go over the ends of your lav mic so that you can record outside without having too much wind interference. They also make really good finger puppet hats. They're just so cute. I think I will call them Larry and Steve. All of the included items fit nice and neat inside the black hard shell case that's included, and I gotta say that's probably one of the biggest pros to this system, is everything is so small and compact and has such a small form factor that when you throw it all in this case, you can really stick this in just about any bag, which makes it super enticing to take on just about any shoot. Packaging, visuals, and aesthetics aside, the most important thing about any wireless lav system is how it performs in its price range. So let's go ahead and take a listen to these lav mics on the transmitters, and let's see what they sound like and what kind of audio we can get. This is what it would sound like if I were to record all of my videos with just the onboard camera microphone, using no lav mic, no shotgun mic, just straight into the camera with no post-processing other than a little bit of boost in audio gain. It probably doesn't sound very good, and you probably wish this clip was already over. Right now you are hearing me from this lav mic right here pinned on my shirt. I'm running it to the receiver, which is about 1.5 feet, 2 feet away, mounted on top of my camera using the correct Canon cable into my Canon EOS R. Let me know what you think. How does it sound? All right, now you are hearing the same lav mic system. The microphone's still pinned to my shirt, camera in the same position as it was before, but now I'm adding some EQing in post-processing to try and beef up the sound a little bit more to give you an idea of what this microphone could sound like if you added some post-processing to it. What do you think? Now everyone edits their audio differently, so whether you liked that audio or not is irrelevant. All that's important is that you can see what kind of range you can get with the sound that we were getting out of these microphones. And honestly, I'm pretty impressed. I didn't expect these microphones, given their price range, to blow me away, but this is a totally capable sound that with some EQing can sound pretty decent, and it's going to be way better than any onboard microphone on any camera. Now, one of the biggest benefits of any wireless system is that it allows you to be not tethered by cords. But now that we're using a wireless system, we have other things we need to worry about. Even though there's no cables, now we have to worry about whether or not we're in range or if there's any interference that's affecting our audio. So let's go ahead and do a test so we can see roughly how far we can get away from the receiver before we start losing any audio quality. All right, now I have switched over. I have this little dead cat guy on top of the lav mic now. I'm gonna go ahead and start walking. I don't know why I'm looking back. It doesn't really make a difference if I'm looking at the camera or not because I'm wearing a lav mic. That's kind of the beauty of this thing, is you should be able to hear me from wherever. I'm gonna stop right here. This would be right around 20 feet right here. So I was at about 8 to 10 feet before. Now I'm at 20 feet, and I'm walking into the wind 25 feet, and this is about 30 feet. 30 feet, how do I sound? Am I cutting out any wind? And we're gonna go ahead and move back out here, around 40 feet right here. Yep, 40 feet, cool, great stuff. The wind is a little slow right now, so we're gonna see if it picks up a bit. I am now hitting 64 feet, 65 feet right here. Can you still hear me at 65 feet? Raise your hand, shout in the comments if you're hearing me at 65 feet. 75 feet right about now. 75. How you doing? Hang 10, whatever. Let's go. 85 feet. Here we go. And the back of the yard at 95. How do you like me now? Feet. Maybe you guys don't even hear me. Maybe I'm just talking to myself from 95 feet away, looking like an ant on my screen. Who knows, maybe this thing is gonna outshine my expectations and be able to reach much further than I think it can. But we don't know. We just don't know yet. After listening to these audio tests, I gotta say, this thing really surprised me. I didn't expect very much out of this, given that, let's be honest, when I picked up that receiver and transmitter for the first time, it felt like a piece of plastic with nothing in it. It performed much better than I thought it would. The audio quality was pretty decent, and it performed all the way up to 95 feet without ever losing connection. There was a couple points around like 40 feet, I think, and maybe a little bit further where it just kind of blipped a second. And yes, this was in an open situation, so it's not an accurate evaluation if you were shooting inside and using it between walls, or if you had a whole bunch of people, or if you were in an urban setting where you've got a bunch of buildings around you with conflicting signals potentially coming from each one of them. Those are obviously different situations, and they're going to yield different results, and obviously they're going to impact the range in which you can move to at least some degree. But given that this was just an open space, it still performed way better than I thought it was going to. And I think if you can get 95 to 100 feet, that's probably going to cover your bases for most of your videos. Now, I myself do a lot of wedding filmmaking and interviews, so I am definitely going to be adding this to my kit just to do some further testing, because I am curious that if you get a whole bunch more bodies and people on their cell phones, in whether it's a church or even an outdoor wedding, I wonder how this would perform when there's more interference, especially since you can't switch channels, which is probably one of its biggest drawbacks. But if you're shooting something like an interview, I don't see that single channel thing being an issue, because you're more than likely just a few feet away from your subject. So this is probably a pretty exceptional piece of technology when you're trying to record interview style videos and need multiple audio sources recorded to the same video. This would save people lots of time in post-production if you're not using an audio syncing program such as Pluralize. There was one thing that I did notice about the audio that was recorded through the lav mic itself, and that is that when I stopped talking, it sounded like the gain on the microphone was starting to raise up, and it was picking up more of the room noise and also introducing a little bit of a buzzy hum sound. And it didn't really happen when I was talking, but as soon as I would stop, it would slowly start to creep in. And I thought that was a little interesting, because if it is auto adjusting, it really wouldn't make sense, because on the receiver you can change the gain or decibel level of which it's recording, or your mic sensitivity. But if it's auto adjusting and you're adjusting it yourself, any adjustments you make would then just be corrected in an auto adjustment. So I'm not entirely sure what is happening there, but if it is auto adjusting the gain, I wish there was a way to turn that off, because it was a noticeable hum when I stopped talking. For some people, the lack of features, menu options, and customizable settings is going to be a pretty big turnoff on a system like this for some people. And if you're an advanced user who's used a wireless lav system before, you're probably going to find this one to be a little bit too simplistic for your liking. But if you're somebody that this is your first wireless system, or you're somebody who doesn't want to deal with all of those extra settings, you just want to turn it on and have it sound good and be able to record multiple sources of audio, move freely, no muss, no fuss, turn it on and roll, this is a pretty good option that's relatively affordable. And that's just gonna about do it. So if you want to check out this wireless mic system, you can go down to the description down below, where I will have it all linked up for you. And if you like this video, found it helpful or mildly entertaining, go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe for more videos just like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Say feel that bass.
Hello, can you hear me? Whee! That audio better have come through, because I'm not doing that again.
Hey Steve. Yeah? Sup, Blair? How many subscribers do you think Dad lost today when he started talking about finger puppets? Dude, none, bro. Everybody loves Dad. More like Rad does, Tech. Hashtag Team Steve. So rad, dude.